They told me to leave. Not later, not quietly, right there, at Christmas dinner, in front of my 8-year-old daughter, and 5 minutes later, everything they thought they owned, control, lies, power, started collapsing like a bad house of cards. You know that feeling when a room suddenly goes silent, like the air just got sucked out? Yeah. That was the moment my own parents decided money mattered more than blood. But let me rewind, because this didn't start at Christmas. This started the day I buried my husband. David was gone. Just like that. One accident, one phone call, one moment where my entire life cracked straight down the middle. The funeral looked normal from the outside. Black clothes, red eyes, fake sympathy hugs that lasted a second too long. But I remember one thing crystal clear. Stepping into the hallway because I couldn't breathe, that's when I heard my sister's voice. Low, sharp, calculated. She can't raise that kid alone, Meredith whispered. You know that, right? Maybe it's time someone else stepped in. I froze. I waited for my mom to shut it down, to say no, to defend me. Instead, she sighed and said, "We'll talk about it later. Let her grieve first." That was the first crack. At the burial, my dad pulled me aside. His grip on my shoulder felt more like a warning than comfort. "Be strong," he said. "Crying doesn't fix anything. People don't respect weakness." That was it. No hug. No "I'm sorry." Just instructions. I didn't know it then, but that was the moment I stopped being family and started being an opportunity. 3 months later, the insurance money came through. $2.3 million. Money my husband set up just in case. Back when we were young, broke, and stupid enough to think tragedy couldn't find us. I remember sitting in a lawyer's office, pen shaking in my hand, thinking, this is what his life is worth on paper. The second that deposit hit my account, everything changed. My sister started calling. A lot. "Just checking on you, sis," she'd say, voice dripping sweet like syrup. My mom suddenly wanted weekly family dinners. Even my dad, who hadn't voluntarily spoken to me in years, wanted to catch up. Funny how grief makes you invisible, but money makes you magnetic. At the 4th Sunday dinner, my dad cleared his throat like he was about to announce a business deal. "I've been thinking," he said. "You should let Meredith handle your finances. She's good with money. You're more creative." Translation: "You're not smart enough for this." I told him no, politely. The temperature in the room dropped fast. "We're just worried," Meredith said, smiling like a snake in heels. "You've never dealt with this kind of money before." I told them David had already set everything up. Accountant, advisor, the works. That's when my grandmother grabbed my wrist as I was leaving. She leaned in close, eyes sharp as glass. "Be careful," she whispered. "I don't trust anyone in this room." She slipped a folded paper into my palm. "Call this number." I didn't, not yet. I told myself I was overreacting, that family was just being protective. That lie lasted 6 months. The guilt started slow, strategic. Dade's store isn't doing great. Mom's medical bills are piling up. It must be hard sitting on all that money while family struggles. Then came the phone call. My mom was crying, like really crying. "Your father's about to lose everything," she said. "The store, the house." Despite everything, they were still my parents. "I can help," I said. "I'll lend you $50,000. No interest." Silence. Then my dad exploded. "I don't need charity from my own daughter." And that's when Meredith slid in with the real pitch. "It would just be easier if you signed a few papers," she said calmly. "Power of attorney. I'll handle everything." Power of attorney. My husband's voice echoed in my head. "Never sign anything you don't fully understand, especially with family." I told them I needed time. That's when the sweetness cracked. "We're family," Meredith snapped. I hung up. That night, my daughter was crying in her room. She told me my own mother said she wished Daddy was still alive instead of me. Something inside me snapped. And when I opened Facebook later that night, my sister had already started telling the world I was irresponsible, unstable, gambling the money away. That's when I finally made the call my grandmother begged me to make. And that's when I learned the truth. Because Christmas wasn't about forgiveness. It was about an ambush. The scariest part wasn't that my family wanted my money. It was how calmly they planned to take it, while smiling in my face and calling it love. That night, after Lily finally cried herself to sleep, I sat alone on the couch, staring at my phone like it might bite me. The number Grandma gave me burned a hole in my pocket. I called. Marcus Webb answered on the second ring. Calm voice. Steady, like someone who'd already seen this movie and knew how it ended. Andrea, he said gently, I'm glad you finally called. That's when I saw the photo on his desk. Him and David, arms around each other, laughing like idiots at a college graduation. David was my best friend, Marcus said. He asked me to watch out for you and Lily if anything ever happened. My throat closed. I told him everything. The dinners, the guilt, the power of attorney papers, the things my mother said to my daughter. Marcus didn't interrupt once. When I finished, he leaned forward and said words that still make my stomach drop. They don't want to help you manage your money, he said. They want to take it. He showed me proof. My sister had contacted the insurance company months earlier, asking how beneficiary transfers worked. On my policy, then he pulled financial records on my dad's store. It's not struggling, Marcus said. It's bleeding. Bankruptcy, level bad. And Meredith, her real estate business tanked last year. She owes investors money she can't pay back. That's when it hit me. I wasn't family anymore. I was a bailout plan. A week before Christmas, Meredith showed up at my apartment unannounced. Designer coat. Perfect hair. Manila folder tucked under her arm like a weapon. I just need you to sign these, she said, pushing past me. I said no. She smiled, then dropped the mask. You don't know what you're doing, she snapped. You married David and got lucky. That's it. You're not smart. You're just a widow with a windfall. That's when Lily appeared in the hallway. She heard everything. Meredith froze for half a second, then grabbed her folder and stormed out. At the door, she turned and said, Christmas dinner. Bring the signed papers. Or don't come at all. 3 days before Christmas, my dad called. You're coming to dinner, he said. And you're signing those papers. I said no. His voice went ice cold. Then don't set foot in this family again. I asked if my mom knew he was saying this. He laughed. She told me to call. That night, Grandma asked me to come by alone. She handed me a sealed envelope. Don't open this until tomorrow night, she said. You'll know when. She told me they planned to humiliate me in front of everyone. Corner me publicly so I'd feel trapped. Then she said something I'll never forget. I will not let greed destroy what's left of this family. Christmas Day arrived like a lie wrapped in lights. The house was perfect. Candles, laughter, turkey roasting, 15 relatives packed into the dining room. Every single one had already heard the story about me, the gambling, the instability, the poor decisions. Halfway through dinner, Meredith stood up and clinked her glass. She told everyone about my sudden wealth, about how concerned they were, about how I needed help. Then she pulled out the folder. Will you sign? She asked sweetly. 15 faces turned toward me. My daughter whispered, Mommy. My father stood up. Sign, he said, or leave, you and that child. My mother looked at me and said, Christmas would be better without you. That's when Grandma touched my arm. Wet. I stood up. No, I said. The room exploded. Get out. My father shouted. Leave and never come back. I reached for Lily. Then I made a call. 5 minutes later, the doorbell rang. Marcus walked in. And Grandma smiled. Because Christmas dinner wasn't over. It was just getting started. You ever watch people panic when they realize the story they've been telling is about to be exposed? That's what 5 minutes feels like when the truth is already on its way. The doorbell rang. Nobody moved. Forks froze mid-air. Glasses stopped clinking. Even the fake Christmas music humming from the living room suddenly felt too loud. Then Grandma Margaret said it. Quiet, sharp, unshakable. That'll be Marcus. Let him in. My father scoffed. This is my house. Grandma turned to him slowly. My table, my dinner. Sit down. He sat. Marcus Webb walked in like he owned the room. Not loud, not aggressive. Calm. Focused. Carrying a leather briefcase that looked heavier than it should have. He took one look around. The crying child, The red-faced adults, the tension thick enough to choke on. "Good evening," he said. "I'm Marcus Webb, attorney for Andrea Outen and Margaret Whitmore." My sister went pale. "What is this?" my father demanded. "Some kind of stunt?" Marcus set the briefcase on the table and clicked it open. "I'd call it a correction." He pulled out a thick stack of papers. "Mrs. Whitmore received an email chain in April," Marcus said calmly. "It appears it was forwarded to her accidentally." My mother's face drained of color. "Would you like me to read the subject line?" Marcus asked. Silence. He cleared his throat. "Operation Andre plan for the money." Gasps rippled around the table. Meredith lunged forward. "That's private? You can't." These emails were authenticated by a digital forensics expert. Marcus cut in smoothly. IP addresses confirmed. Timestamps verified. He opened the folder. April 15th. 2 weeks after David Outen's funeral, from Meredith Harrison to Patricia Outen. He read aloud. "Andrea's always been weak. She'll cave under family pressure. Especially at a holiday gathering. Dad's store is the perfect excuse." My hands started shaking. Marcus continued. "Once she signs the power of attorney, we control everything. She won't even know what hit her." The room exploded into whispers. "That's out of context." Meredith snapped. "We were just worried." May 3rd. Marcus interrupted. "Update told the family Andrea's gambling. Plant the seed now so no one questions it later." Aunt Betty turned slowly toward my mother. "You told us she was gambling," she whispered. "Was that a lie?" My mother couldn't answer. Grandma stood. "I wanted to see how far you'd go," she said, voice trembling with rage she'd held back for months. "I wanted to see if anyone would defend my granddaughter." No one spoke. "Not one of you?" she said. "You watched a child cry on Christmas and said nothing." She pointed at my mother. "You told Lily the world would be better without her mother." My mother collapsed into her chair. Marcus reached into the briefcase again. "And now," he said, "the second document." The room went dead quiet. He lifted a blue, bound folder stamped with an official seal. "This is the last will and testament of Margaret Ellen Whitmore, executed 3 weeks ago." Meredith stood so fast her chair tipped over. "No," she whispered, "that house is mine." Marcus began reading. "I hereby bequeath my primary residence, valued at approximately $1.8 million, to my granddaughter, Andrea Louise Outen." Chaos. Actual chaos. My sister screamed. My father slumped like someone unplugged him. My mother dropped to her knees on the Persian rug, sobbing. "You promised," she cried to Grandma. "I promised nothing," Grandma replied coldly. "You assumed." Meredith crawled toward me. "I'm sorry," she sobbed. "I was desperate. Derek doesn't know about the debts." "Please, Andrea." I stepped back. "I see you," I said quietly. "All of you." I wasn't angry anymore. I was done. I took Lily's hand. "I'm not suing anyone," I said to the room. "I'm not chasing revenge. I'm protecting my child." I looked at my parents. "You chose money over family. That was your choice, not mine." Then I walked out. My phone exploded that night. Cousins apologizing. Aunts admitting they believed the lies. Uncles ashamed they stayed silent. Not one call from my parents. The next morning, Marcus called. "Your dad filed for bankruptcy. Meredith's investors found out. Her husband just learned about the debts." I felt nothing, just tired. 2 weeks later, Grandma called. "Would you and Lily mind if an old woman moved in with you?" Lily overheard. "Really?" she squealed. Grandma laughed. "I don't need a mansion," she said. "I need a family." For the first time since David died, my home felt safe. And that Christmas, it didn't break me, it freed me. Everyone thinks the hardest part is the confrontation. It's not. The hardest part is the silence afterward, when the chaos fades and you're left alone with what you chose. And what it cost. The morning after Christmas didn't feel like victory. It felt empty. No shouting, no phones ringing nonstop, no fake concern dressed up as love, just quiet. Lily sat at the kitchen table, swinging her legs, eating cereal like nothing catastrophic had happened the night before. Kids are like that. They survive things adults swear would break them. "Mommy," she asked, milk mustache and all, "are we in trouble?" I knelt in front of her. "No, baby. I said softly. We told the truth. That's never wrong. She thought about it for a second, then nodded like it made sense. That's when I realized something brutal and beautiful at the same time. My 8-year-old understood boundaries better than grown adults twice my age. The calls didn't stop. Cousins, aunts, people who hadn't spoken to me in years. Every conversation started the same way. We didn't know. She told us you were unstable. We should have asked you. I listened. I thanked them. I didn't comfort them. Because accountability isn't about easing guilt, it's about sitting with it. A week later, my mother called. Unknown number. I stared at it for a long time before answering. Her voice sounded smaller than I remembered. Not powerful. Not sharp. Just tired. Please don't hang up, she whispered. I just need 5 minutes. I stepped onto the balcony so Lily wouldn't hear. You told my daughter the world would be better without me? I said calmly. Silence. I know, she cried. I was scared. Your father was falling apart. Meredith kept saying this was the only way. That's not an excuse, I said. I know, she sobbed harder. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I just want to hear Lily's voice. I closed my eyes. I need time, I said finally. And when I'm ready, I'll reach out. Not the other way around, she agreed. I hung up shaking, but lighter. That night, Grandma and I sat on the couch while Lily slept between her stuffed animals like a fortress. Do you regret it? I asked her. The house. Cutting them off. Grandma didn't answer right away. That house was just wood and walls, she said finally. What they did to you, that was rot. I don't miss rot. She took my hand. You didn't destroy the family, she said. You revealed it. Life got smaller. And somehow better. No more walking on eggshells. No more justifying myself. No more shrinking to keep others comfortable. The money stayed untouched. A trust went into Lily's name. I kept my job. I kept my routines. Stability is underrated. One night, Lily built a Lego house on the floor. Look, she said proudly. It's strong. Why strong? I asked. Because the base is big, she said. And nobody can knock it down. I swallowed hard. That's when I understood. I wasn't raising a child who needed saving. I was raising a child who was watching how to stand. 3 months later, Grandma officially moved in. Her antique chair looked ridiculous next to my second-hand couch. Her ceramic cats lined the windowsill like guards. Her laughter filled rooms that used to echo. Our apartment didn't grow bigger. Our lives did. One evening, after cookies and homework and bedtime stories, I opened a cheap notebook. I started writing. I used to think family meant tolerating pain to keep the peace. I was wrong. Peace built on silence is just slow suffering. I closed the notebook and felt something I hadn't felt since David died. Peace. Not loud, not flashy, just solid, because the truth is this. They thought breaking me would make me fold. Instead, it made me choose myself. And once you do that, you don't go back. The thing about truth is, it doesn't rush. It waits. And when it finally moves, it doesn't ask permission. 3 weeks after Christmas, Marcus called me early in the morning. Just wanted you to hear this from me first, he said. Your father's store is officially closed. I didn't say anything. 30 years? He continued. Liquidated. Creditors cleaned it out. I pictured my dad standing behind that counter, arms crossed, acting like the king of a crumbling castle. For a moment, I felt something sharp. Maybe pity, maybe grief for the version of him I wished existed. And Meredith? I asked. Marcus exhaled slowly. Lost 3 major clients. Word spread. Not about the inheritance, but about the dinner. People don't trust someone who turns family into leverage. I closed my eyes. I hadn't wanted revenge, but consequences don't care about intentions. Meredith's husband, Derek, called next. I almost didn't answer. I didn't know, he said quietly, about the debts. Or the plan. I believed him. He sounded like a man who just realized the person he married wasn't who he thought she was. She hid everything, he said. If this gets out, I don't know what happens. I'm not your enemy, I told him, but I'm not your shield either. That was the last time we spoke. My dad never called, not once. My mom tried, text messages mostly. Short, careful, afraid. I hope Lily is okay. I'm thinking of you. I didn't respond. Healing doesn't mean reopening the door to the same fire. One afternoon, Lily asked something that stopped me cold. "Mommy," she said, "why were Grandma and Aunt Meredith so mad at you?" I sat beside her. "They wanted something that wasn't theirs," I said. "And when people want something badly enough, they sometimes forget how to be kind." She nodded slowly. "Like when kids grab toys?" she asked. "Exactly like that," I said. She smiled, satisfied. "Sometimes kids understand things adults overcomplicate." Grandma watched us from the kitchen. "You're doing good?" she said later. "Better than I ever did." I raised an eyebrow. "You raised them," she sighed. "And I spent years excusing behavior I should have confronted." She looked at Lily. "You broke a cycle," she said. "That matters more than you know." The money stayed quiet, no flashy purchases, no upgrades, no announcements, just growth. Slow, intentional. I set college funds, emergency buffers, futures that didn't depend on anyone else's approval. For the first time, money felt like safety, not bait. Then came the letter. Handwritten, from my father. 3 sentences. "I don't agree with how things ended, but I hope Lily grows up strong. Take care." No apology, no accountability. I folded it and put it away. Closure doesn't always come wrapped in understanding. Sometimes it comes wrapped in acceptance. One night, Grandma asked me something unexpected. "What would you do?" she said, "if none of this had happened?" I thought about it. "I'd still be trying to earn love that was never offered freely," I said. She nodded. "Exactly?" I started sleeping better, laughing more, saying no without explaining myself. And that's when it hit me. Peace isn't the absence of conflict. It's the absence of pretending. They thought the money changed me. It didn't. The betrayal did. And it taught me something priceless. Family isn't who shares your blood. It's who shows up without an agenda. Forgiveness doesn't show up when you're ready. It shows up when you're finally strong enough to say no to it, if it comes with strings attached. 2 months after everything fell apart, my phone buzzed with a number I hadn't saved. I knew who it was before I answered. "Hi, Andrea," my mother said softly. "It's me." I didn't respond right away. "I just wanted to check on Lily," she added quickly. "I heard she started doing better in school." I closed my eyes. "She's fine," I said. "She always was." Silence stretched between us. "I've been thinking a lot," my mother said. "About what I said. About Christmas." I waited. "I was wrong," she whispered. "Not I hurt you. Not I hurt Lily. Just I was wrong. It wasn't enough. But it was something." She asked if we could meet. "Just coffee," she said. "Neutral place." I said yes, on one condition. "Lily doesn't come," I told her. "Not yet." She agreed too fast. That should have been my first warning. The cafe smelled like burnt espresso and regret. She looked older, smaller, less certain. We talked about safe things at first. Weather, traffic, how fast kids grow. Then she went there. "Your father's struggling," she said. "The store closing really broke him." I didn't react. "He won't talk to anyone," she continued. "Not even Meredith." I sipped my coffee. "I didn't come here to discuss his pain," I said evenly. "I came to see if you understood mine." Her eyes filled with tears. "I do," she said. "I swear I do." Then she reached across the table. Maybe we could start fresh," she said, slowly. "As a family." I leaned back. "What does fresh look like?" I asked. She hesitated. "Well, holidays together. Calls. Maybe letting your father see Lily sometimes." There it was. Access. Not accountability. I shook my head. "Not yet," I said. "And maybe not ever." Her face fell. "But I said I was sorry?" "I know," I replied. "But apologies don't erase patterns." She stared at me like she didn't recognize me. "You've changed," she said quietly. "Yes?" I agreed. I had to. That night, Lily asked why I looked tired. "Grown-up stuff," I told her. She wrapped her arms around my waist. "I like when it's just us," she said. So did I. A week later, Meredith tried. No warning, no apology, just a message. "I never meant to hurt you. Can we talk?" I didn't respond. Some bridges don't need rebuilding. Grandma noticed. "You're holding firm," she said proudly. "That's not bitterness, that's wisdom." I smiled. I used to think forgiveness meant letting people back in, I said. She nodded. Forgiveness is letting go of the hope they'll be different, she replied. Life settled into a new rhythm. School runs. Homework. Grandma's cooking filling the apartment with warmth. No chaos. No drama. Just calm. One evening, Lily looked up at me and asked something that made my heart ache. Mummy, she said, are we a real family? I knelt beside her. We're the realest kind, I said. The kind that chooses each other. She smiled. That was enough. Because forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting. And healing doesn't mean returning. It means moving forward, without carrying the weight that nearly crushed you. Just when you think the storm is over, the past tries one last time to pull you back into the wreckage. It happened on a Tuesday. Ordinary. Quiet. No warning signs. I was folding laundry when my phone rang. Unknown number. I almost ignored it. Almost. Hello, I said. Andrea. My father's voice rasped. It's me. I sat down. He hadn't called me since Christmas. Not once. I don't have much time, he said quickly, like he was afraid I'd hang up. Your mother said you won't talk to us anymore. I didn't say that, I replied. I said I needed space. He laughed bitterly. Same thing. I let the silence stretch. I'm calling because I need help, he finally said. There it was. He told me the rest in pieces. The bankruptcy wiped him out. Friends stopped calling. Pride kept him quiet. I built that store with my own hands, he said. Now I've got nothing. I closed my eyes. I'm not asking for money, he added quickly. I didn't believe him. I just want to see Lily, he said. She deserves her grandfather. My jaw tightened. You told me to leave, I said calmly. You said we weren't family. That was anger. He snapped. You know I didn't mean it. I thought about Lily crying at that table. About my mother's words. About my sister's lies. Intent doesn't erase impact, I said. He changed tactics. You wouldn't be where you are without us, he said. We raised you. That old script. I almost laughed. You raised me to stay quiet, I replied. I unlearned that. His voice hardened. So that's it, he said. You're just going to cut us off like we never mattered. I took a breath. I'm not cutting you off, I said. I'm protecting my child, he scoffed. She needs family. She has family, I said. Just not chaos. There was a long pause. Then his voice cracked. I failed you, he said quietly. That one sentence hit harder than everything else. I don't know how to fix it. I swallowed. Fixing it starts with accountability, I said. Not access, silence. I can't promise anything, he finally said. I know, I replied. That's why this conversation ends here. I hung up, my hands were shaking. But my spine was straight. That night I told Grandma. She nodded slowly. You did the hardest thing, she said. You broke the pattern without becoming cruel. I watched Lily color at the table. Peacefully, safely, untouched by adult mess. A few days later, a letter arrived, from Meredith. No apology, just blame. You ruined everything. I tore it in half, then in quarters, then dropped it in the trash. Closure doesn't always come with understanding. Sometimes it comes with distance. That evening, Lily crawled into bed beside me. Mommy, she whispered. Are you sad? I kissed her hair. I'm proud, I said. Of us. She smiled and fell asleep. Because the truth is, some people don't want reconciliation, they want access without responsibility, and saying no to that. That's not cruelty. That's love. They thought this story would end with revenge. With screaming, with scorched earth. It didn't. It ended with peace, and that's what destroyed their hold on me forever. Spring came quietly. No dramatic announcements, no courtroom battles, no public apologies. Just life moving forward, steady, unbothered, real. Lily grew inches in weeks like kids do when they finally feel safe. Her laughter came back full volume. Not cautious, not checking my face for cues. Free. Grandma took over the kitchen like she'd been there her whole life. Morning tea, afternoon walks. Evening stories about a family history that didn't revolve around control or guilt. One night, she said something that locked everything into place. You know why this hurts them so much? She asked. I shook my head. Because you didn't collapse, she said. You didn't beg. You didn't need them to survive, she smiled. That's power. I stopped waiting for closure. Stopped checking my phone. Stopped rehearsing conversations that would never happen. I accepted something simple and painful. They loved the version of me that was easy to control, not the one who said no. Months passed. My mother sent one final message. I understand now. I hope one day you'll let me try again. I didn't reply. Understanding without change is just another delay tactic. Lily asked one night while we were baking cookies, "Mummy, are we happy?" I didn't hesitate. "Yes," I said. She nodded like that was all she needed. I kept journaling. One entry ended like this: family isn't who demands access. Family is who respects boundaries. Love doesn't threaten abandonment. And peace doesn't need permission. Sometimes I still think about that Christmas dinner, the way they pointed to the door, the way they said leave and never return. I did. And it was the best decision I ever made, because here's the truth they never expected. I didn't lose a family. I escaped a system. I didn't become cold. I became clear. And clarity? That's unbreakable. If you've ever been made to feel guilty for protecting yourself, if you've ever been told you were selfish for setting boundaries, if you've ever stayed silent just to keep the peace, this is your reminder. You don't owe access to anyone who hurts you. Not even family. Especially not family.